All right, let's talk about the next big thing that's already here. AI agents. Now, I know, another buzzword, right? But this is different. This is a whole new kind of automation that's changing how businesses run. So today, we're going to unpack the strategic playbook you'll need to get ahead of the curve.
To really get a sense of just how big this is, look at this number, 39%. In just 2 years, that's how many adults in the US have already used AI. That is not just growth, that's a wildfire. But to see just how crazy that is, you've got to compare it to something.
Think about this. In its first 2 years, the internet only reached 20% of people. AI is being adopted almost twice as fast. We are literally in the middle of a tech shift that's moving faster than the internet did. It's completely unprecedented.
So what's fueling this incredible speed? It's a brand new wave in automation called AI agents. And let's be super clear here. These are not just smarter chatbots. This is a fundamental change in how we think about getting work done.
Here's probably the best way to think about it. Old school automation, that's just the checklist. It does step 1, then step 2, then step 3. It can't deviate. But an AI agent, that's like a seasoned investigator. It can look at a problem, poke around, find clues, and use its own judgment to figure things out. It's a huge difference.
So that brings us to our first section, the new automation wave. And really, this isn't just about doing the same old things a little bit faster. This is about completely rethinking our workflows and handing off these really complex, multi-step problems to a system that can actually handle them.
Okay, section 2, your agent building playbook. Now, I know building an agent sounds super intimidating, right? Like something only a team of PhDs can do. But it doesn't have to be. We're going to break it down into a really simple, straightforward process. Before we jump into the how, you have to get this one idea locked in your head. Success here isn't about building the most complicated sci-fi system you can imagine. No, it's about building the right system for your specific problem. It's about being effective, not complex.
So here it is, the playbook. It's just 4 steps. We're going to start simple, define what it's made of, choose how it's all put together, and then, crucially, put up some guardrails. This is the path to get from an idea to a working agent safely.
Okay, so what's an agent actually made of? It really boils down to 3 things. First, you've got the model. That's the large language model, the LLM, that's the agent's brain. Then you have the tools. Think of these as the agent's hands. They're the APIs that let it actually interact with other software. And finally, you have the instructions. These are your rules, the explicit commands that tell the agent how to behave.
Once you have those building blocks, you decide how to arrange them. You can start really simply with a single agent system. One brain, one job. It's perfect for getting started. But for the really tricky stuff, you can set up a multi-agent system. This is where you have a whole team of specialized agents that work together, each with its own expertise, to tackle a big problem.
And now for the last step, and honestly, it's the most important one, safety. You can't trust an agent if you can't control it, so you need guardrails. We're talking about filters for sensitive data, like PII, or personally identifiable information, safeguards on what tools it can even touch, and most importantly, a clear plan for when a human needs to jump in. Trust is built on control.
All right, section 3, agents in action. So enough with the theory. What does this look like in the real world? What's the actual impact? Let's take a look at how companies are using this playbook right now.
And yeah, the results are already hitting the bottom line. Companies that are leading the way with AI, they're seeing 1.5 times faster revenue growth, better shareholder returns, and a higher return on their capital. This isn't just some future hype. This is a real, measurable competitive advantage today.
And check out how diverse the use cases are. At Indeed, they used an agent to help explain job recommendations, and boom, a 20% jump in people starting applications. Tinder is using agents to help their engineers code better and faster. In finance, they're tossing out those old rigid fraud rules and bringing in that seasoned investigator logic. And at Poshmark, they're saving countless hours by automating mind-numbing spreadsheet work.
Section 4, making your first move. So we've gone through the theory, we've seen the real-world examples, now for what really matters. How do you get started? Let's get practical. This is the question, isn't it? It's the one every business leader is asking themselves right now. There are so many possibilities, so where do you place your bet? How do you pick the project that's actually going to work? Well, it all comes down to being disciplined.
You just need this simple grid. It's called the impact/effort framework. You map out all your ideas on this thing, and then you just look at that top left box. The projects that are low effort but have a high impact, those are your quick wins. They are the perfect place to start. You build momentum, you prove the value, and you do it fast.
So, what does a quick win look like? Morgan Stanley is a perfect example. They created these AI super assistants for their financial advisors. The agent just handles summarizing market research and other documents. It's a pretty low-effort tool to build, but it has a massive value because it frees up their experts to spend more time with clients. That's the sweet spot you're looking for.
But those quick wins, they're just the beginning. The real endgame, the scale of this whole thing, is captured perfectly by this quote from Moderna CEO. He said, "We're looking at every business process and thinking about how to redesign them with AI. It's not about fixing one or two tasks. It's about rethinking everything."
Look, the race is on. It's happening right now. Your competitors are out there building their own playbooks, so the only question that's left is, what's your first move going to be? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.